The PREMTB101 ships with this thermostat adapter already terminated. If you use the supplied extension cable, you can cut this end off, install this into the existing thermostat location by stripping these wires for signal, ground, and 12 volt, and then use this connector to plug directly into the thermostat's harness. Then you can continue from there. Once our thermostat is powered up, we now have to verify that the firmware version is compatible with the R32 system. So we'll scroll over to Menu, Settings, Service, and then RMC version information. This is the firmware number, and as long as it's 4009 or greater, we're good to continue. To access the piping address setting, we have to go into the installer level menu. So scroll to Menu, Setting, but do not press Enter. Hold the up arrow for 3 seconds. You're now prompted to enter a password. This is simply the firmware version number that we checked earlier. So for me, it will be 4009. The piping address setting is at the bottom of this list. So if you press the up arrow once, you'll be able to access it here. The indoor unit piping address setting should correspond to the port that it is piped to on the branch distribution unit. For example, if we have 1 BDU and 3 indoor units, the thermostat location and indoor unit piped to port A will be address 1A. The next unit will be address 1B, and the third unit, which is piped to port C, will be address 1C. When you first open the address setting, it will show 0A, and you must scroll up to select the correct address. If you have 2 branch distribution units, the first BDU will be address 0, and the second BDU will be address 1. The corresponding indoor units would be address 1A, 1B, 1C, etc. And the second BDU system would be address 2A, 2B, 2C. So BDU address 0, indoor units 1A, B, C. BDU address 1, indoor units 2A, B, C. After choosing the correct address and pressing OK, it is important to wait for the thermostat to send that right to the indoor unit's non-volatile memory. I personally give this about 1 minute and then return to the same setting and verify that that address is what you sent. If it is not, send it again. It may take multiple tries as indoor unit to thermostat communication is very slow. Do not unwire this thermostat or proceed until you can confirm that the correct address is in place. While in the installer settings, go ahead and verify that this temperature sensor setting is set to RMC. If you are using one PREMTB101 as a startup tool, and you've confirmed that the address you've selected has taken, now you can unwire it and proceed to the next thermostat location. It's important to be careful of the red 12-volt wire, as this is hot for power and can short. So I like to use a Wago connector and just disconnect the power, but leave that capped so that it can't touch anything else. Now you can continue. Once all of your indoor units have been addressed accordingly, you can now return to the condensing unit and begin the manual piping process. To do this, hold the red button for 5 seconds. The screen will now show 88, and within the next minute or two, should display the correct number of BDUs and indoor units accordingly. This will alternate between BDU with the number, which in our case should be 1 or 2, and then it'll show IU with the corresponding amount of indoor units. If you do not see the correct amount of BDUs or indoor units displayed, this indicates a potential wiring issue. At this point, return to your COM wiring essentials and check polarity and ensure that A and B are continuous throughout all of the condensing unit, branch distributor unit, and indoor unit connections. If the display goes blank, that means the manual piping process was successful and the units are now ready to be operated normally.